Hello and welcome to the second and last episode in which we recap Real Housewives of Orange County. I'm Sunday, pop culture professor, and Emily has decided to jaunt off to be with her Real Housewife group somewhere having fun. She sent me a picture this morning of mimosas and yoga, so she's living a life. So very graciously, Jeff has decided to step in and introduce yourself and then tell us what your connection to Real Housewives of Orange County is, sir.
Well, let's see. I'm Jeff. I am a former Bravo noob who knows a good bit about some of our reality shows here. Zero about Real Housewives of Orange County until about 48 hours ago. And I have watched some of it now. That is my experience.
Okay.
But I'm ready to talk about it. Yeah.
Before you do that, a little bit of business. So make sure that you guys are rating us and reviewing us, finding us on social media. Sometimes I'm not as consistent as I should be, but sometimes I put it on YouTube so you can watch us. Carla likes to watch us instead of listen to us. But then, like I
Who
said,
wouldn't?
right? Like I said, Emily and I are going to ditch Real Housewives of OC. If you have a lot of beef with it, send it straight to Jeff at pinopod.com. I don't want to hear it. But we are going to replace it. We're going to fill the housewife-shaped hole in our heart with Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, which gives us a little bit of that vibe in there. Also, this show is late, which also our Vanderpump Rules show was late this week too. But you know what? Also send complaints to Jeff. And then upcoming, not next week, but week after is when our big House of Stassi debuts. And so be looking for that. And then always, Noel and I are almost caught up to the McBee dynasty. The first half of season 2 is out. Second half will be out this weekend, and then we can start talking about McBees and all of their federal indictment glory. So, okay.
Fantastic.
All right. So here's what. How many episodes of Real Housewives of Orange County have you seen in your lifetime?
3.
3?
Yes.
I thought you were going to say 1.
I watched season 1, episode 2.
Okay.
And then you had told me to watch season 20, episode 2.
Oh.
And then...
Yes. Okay. For sure. Yeah.
Did you not know you gave me this homework? And then, so to catch up to episode 2 of 20, I also watched episode 1. So I watched 3 episodes.
I did give you the right homework then and I didn't really want you to have to suffer all the way through season 1, episode 1 or episode 2, because it's a pretty far cry. Because the big deal about this season is it's the 20th anniversary of the OG Housewives and 2006 from 2026. And so it's a far cry. So we'll talk a little bit about some of the differences and because the past in a minute. But I want you just to give me your first impressions. You gave me a little hint that maybe this wasn't your jam, but tell me what your impressions of this show, these women, what do you think?
Well, I was kind of hesitant to really claim, exactly what I thought, because it looked like they were definitely fleshing some stuff out, giving people their identities and all that stuff. It was, but then at the same time, I felt behind the whole time on figuring out what was what. Really, then I figured out it was just, you recall the show Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, right?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Well, I thought this was kind of like that. Just, someone wanted to, instead of bouncing around to a new show, 4 places every week, it was like, what if we just stayed on 4 houses, for a whole year, and we would see what happens, because these people's lives are kind of extraordinary. And let's just see what happens when they have to do mundane things throughout the day. And
so,
and all the regular, that's air quotes, stuff that they have to do, just done in a very, very different way. So,
this show started as a show that was meant to be called Behind the Gates. I told the story last week, but it was really supposed to be more like what you're saying, lifestyles of the rich and famous of this particularly gated community, Coda de Casa. and these women and these housewives. So you can see that when you watch the season 1 episodes, it's more in line with that. They're much more sort of like trying to flash their affluence and trying to flash their wealth. But in season 20, they want you to understand their wealth and their affluence without being tacky and saying it outright. Like, it really surprised me when Heather talked about how expensive her party was. She mentioned it several times. That doesn't feel like
Mm-hmm.
her, but it was $75,000. The
Yeah.
party
And,
she threw last week.
really in the first one, it kind of seemed, in the first season, it seemed more, yes, we're hella wealthy, but we need you to understand, for the most part, we are hardworking people. We've earned this, and this is what, now we get to enjoy everything that comes with it because we've worked. So
Yeah.
like they're working for it for the most part with all these people seem to be like these people's catalyst for wanting to be on this show, I bet, like,
Yes.
because they've obviously got thousands of people in these communities and there's 8 people or whatever that agreed to be on it. And their
Well, yeah.
kids who are super pumped about it. And,
Those kids, that was part of one of the things that stood out in the very first episodes is their children are just so bad. Like, their children are bad and they are not trying to mitigate it. Now in 2026, these children get media training. They get,
oh, you mean they're bad at being on the show? Or
no, they're bad generally and don't have a filter as a way to. So like, they don't have a filter. They don't understand that, hey man, maybe I shouldn't be on camera shooting rabbits. That's probably not great. I can like bitch out my mom and complain about my brand new car, but animal cruelty, that's not great for, our image there.
Yeah.
So
it's hard to say that they had a real polished image in the last one, but we can get into that.
Yeah, but there's so many more rules attached to what famous people can be. But and you got to see their taglines. They did not have them last episode, season 1. I mean, season 20, episode 1 didn't have their like taglines, which is a very famous trope that all housewife franchise do. And when you said that you felt like you're missing out a lot, so many of what they said when they came out is a reference to a previous season or it's like an inside joke with the audience. It's like they're winking at us. So we're like, let's see. Shannon says, how do I hold it all together? Resilience and shapewear. That's fairly, it's a fairly running joke. Yeah.
But it was she said that like right after a scene in which she was bouncing around and her shapewear was, it was there. Her shapewear was very there.
So still applicable.
I kind of appreciated her having a laugh at herself about it.
Tamara saying, I'm still the hottest wife, and that's my opinion. Well, yeah, there's a very famous meme, a very famous gif of her saying, at a reading, that's my opinion. And so that is a reference to that particular like moment. So it's very self-referential. We've said this many, many times about Vanderpump Rules, but these folks invented this drama. Like, and almost invented Bravo for what it is now. Before Housewives of OC, Bravo was still sort of like figuring out. Of course, we had Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. We had things that were sort of moving in that direction, but the Real Housewives of OC just really like carved out a particular identity. And so these women never let you forget it, though, especially Vicky, whose wives come and go, but legends whoop it up forever.
Yeah. So Vicky's been on there the whole time. Are there like 2 or 3 that have been on there pretty much the whole time?
So Vicky was there from season 1, day 1, but then I think she was let go a few seasons ago. So she missed 3 or 4 seasons, but now she's back, right? So she was put on pause, as our Bravo fans will understand what that means. She was put on pause. But Vicky has been there. And then second, Tamara. I think Tamara came in season 2 or 3. Heather came in season 4 or 5. I don't know. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. But Vicky, Tamara, Heather, and Shannon have been the longest running. But Jen is Carmela obviously is the brand new. This is her first season. And then Gina also too is one of the new. She's been there 5 years or so. So yeah. And so we get these. And so they give you a little bit of it. And at this point, they are, number one, performing a persona. They are performing who Tamara Judge is on the show. And they are also incorporating all of their other things, like this incessant talk about the podcast, which, listen, we love a podcast. Okay, y'all.
Love a
Listen,
podcast.
rate and
Yeah.
review us, like us on Instagram. But this whole idea that they have these huge things outside of the show is, sort of something that you have to contend with, because Two Teas in a Pod, which is Tamara's podcast, is very, very, very popular. Very, very popular. Like, she probably makes as much or not more money off of that than she does the show.
Yeah.
I would say. But let's just do so. And because they started out this particular franchise and everything else kind of falls under this umbrella, they have carved out some very, very specific tropes that happen. We get one right off the bat, in which they have to sit around a venue after they've done the activity and talk shit. How often do we see that on Vanderpump Rules?
Yeah, lots.
Mm-hmm. And this is Bungie. I don't know if this looks fun or not. If this looked hard or not. Does this seem hard? Because she.
Oh, the bungee exercise? Yeah, I'm sure it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she was the only one who was struggling so bad.
Well, we did see her have some trouble staying upright several times before this happened.
That leads me to my next little bit that we're going to do, in which they've also carved out a set of archetypes for shows that have women. And Shannon is what we understand to be as the disaster. The one that everybody sort of like kind of laughs at. She has the most trouble. Yeah, Shannon notoriously got into a DUI with her dog in the front seat a couple of years ago. And she broke up with a boyfriend who wound up suing her, who wound up marrying another housewife on her same show. Like, she's really put upon. But if you had to do an analog between Real Housewives of OC and Vanderpump, who is the disaster on Vanderpump, would you say?
This seems kind of funny, maybe. I don't know. But I could see, in a funny way, not funny just to watch, but she has a sense of humor. I can see Stassi kind of like aging into this kind of person who is like, because she laughs at herself a lot. Like, we just saw that scene where she's like, why won't this bird shit on me? And she and she laughs at what she wears. Like, I could see her kind of doing that, and maybe it was the blonde, but more than any of, I saw a relationship. Jen reminded me from our mom talk of, is it Jess and Jordan?
No. Yes. I'm getting my mom talk people mixed up. Dakota is Taylor Frankie Paul. So yes, Jordan is
neither one of them
made out. Yeah, okay.
Yes, well, the one with the made out with the Vanderpump Villa guy. They reminded me, like, I kind of pulled up a side by side, and they looked a lot like, I thought.
Oh, Jen and what's her name? Jen and Jess? Is it Jess?
Yeah. I think it's Jess.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so here, let's keep going on my archetypes. So Shannon is the disaster. My analog was Kristen, right? Like, everybody always laughs at Kristen.
Sure.
Yeah, is that what did you have that?
No, but I can see that for sure.
Okay. And remember, these are genderless comparisons. Another type of character that we see a lot on these kinds of shows is the troublemaker. She's the one, and Tamara is the troublemaker here. Like, she is the one that you can judge where you're at in the season, any given season, about who's getting along with Tamara and who's not. She's in the middle of all that. She'll say mean stuff. She will just act a fool. Who is your genderless analog for this?
I didn't have one for that, but I mean, I could see whichever one you didn't pick for the other one. If you didn't pick Kristen for the first one, I could put Kristen in on this one.
I picked Jax as the troublemaker because he is notorious, because I think Tamara, in the same way that Jax does, that Jax is sort of throws caution to the wind and is like, I'm going to say this, I'm going to do this thing. I'm not thinking about anything but how people are going to receive this and how this is going to cement my moment, my number one guy in the group status. That's Tamara too. She has zero impulse control, which Jack too, but she is 58 years old. Tamara's 58 years old.
Also, number one guy in the group energy from Vicky in a big way came through. Like, I'm the one that runs this group. Like, I was like, well, this is number one guy in the group, right here.
So, I have I have classified this as the OG Queen Bee. And this is what I gave
Mm,
Stassi. I
there's
gave
the
Stassi.
Stassi. I get
Yeah,
it.
I gave Stassi. So, like, because Vicky notoriously hazes people. Like, this girl, Carmela, this new one, which I already love her. Like, you and I have seen the exact amount of airtime for this woman. What's your
Yeah.
impression of her?
Well, that's my Lala, right? That's the new girl that some people are
Yeah.
worried about if they're
Yep.
going to like her or not. So
Yep.
that's that one. She seemed great. I'm really into her story, like her and Jeff Garcia, like not being divorced. It was a really shitty way to find out about, getting cheated on. Like, and I
Yeah.
love how she's describing it because she's also kind of calling him out, like this dumbass left a note by, she didn't say that, but it's just like, left a note by his iPad sitting out there for everyone with a wrong phone number on it, blah, blah, blah. But we stayed in touch and, he's part of the kid's life, yada, yada. And, I really liked her. I mean, and hanging out in Playboy Mansion 20 years ago, I bet has some amazing stories.
Yeah.
You got a nice Ron Jeremy reference from her. That doesn't always happen.
Jeff, Ron Jeremy comes up a lot in our podcast. This is probably maybe the half a dozen times that we have mentioned him.
No.
Maybe, yeah, I believe so. Oh, yeah, I believe that Ron Jeremy comes up a lot.
Yeah. Well, maybe as
Say
you
what
just
you want
get
about that.
close to the valley area of California, it's just going to
Yeah.
happen. Yeah.
And then there's always one, like Heather. She is the one who is.
This is the most slam dunk.
Okay. All right. So she's the one who's just above it all. She's just everybody. You know what? I just cannot be bothered. Why? I'm going to put you in this bucket over here because I just can't have it in my life. Who did you assign as the
Well, I
Heather,
said
the one who's
I gave her a
above it all?
person, but I gave it because some people think she's fake, even when she's not being fake, and she's a real people pleaser. So I gave her the Sheena designation.
Okay. I can see the
They accused
analog.
her of being the people pleaser and not having real feelings. So
Right.
that gave me the Sheena.
I picked Ariana too because Ariana, especially in this episode that we're about to talk about, where she was like, "Yes, because I care about Katie. I don't give a shit about you." Love it. That is the energy that Heather gives unilaterally. I gave Jen the climber wannabe, which I guess is another way to say people pleaser. That's like, hey, listen to what I heard. Sheena, in this episode we're about to talk about, Sheena materialized in like 3 different scenes that were people were talking in which had nothing to do with her. And so Jen is given that same energy in which she's like, well, let me tell you what I heard about so-and-so and what she said about you. Girl, this has nothing to do with you. Do not create this smoke. So that the climber wannabe, my analog was Sheena for sure for her.
Yeah, I really get the feeling we've talked about this before as a possibility. Like maybe like when the Real Housewives show up at SUR, especially like season 1 or 2. Like I bet these girls have been watching these ladies on TV and they're taking notes, whether it's mentally or like we are, and they're just like, they aspire to be like this.
Sure.
And going back and watching these old ones, especially, you're like, they were definitely watching this and if they weren't, they are sure living it very similarly. And I don't mean that. I mean that more in a smart way. Like it worked for them. Let me try this identity. Meanwhile, you have our clown college who's just coming in dry as a bone and just tries to jump in like, yeah, we'll figure it out as we go along. Like, nah, man, you guys are treading water in a big, big way. While at least, the Kristen and Stassi, when we complain about them in a certain way, like they do know what they're going for and they are staying on some kind of track rather than just like, running around like chickens with their heads cut off.
And so I don't know how much of it is them watching and studying and transferring the knowledge, which for some, I'm wondering how much of it has like there's a producer Bible that's happening and they engineer the structure because this mold was set so particularly early and so particularly strong. Or maybe is it just human behavior? I mean, I don't know how often me and you were sitting around after our bungee class talking shit about other people, but I have a few other things because another thing too, speaking of Jen and the Sheena of it all, because Sheena does this quite a bit. One woman or one cast member accusing another cast member of being their mouthpiece. So that's what
Mm-hmm.
that is what Jen is saying, that Shannon doesn't really like Tamara, and so she's using me as her mouthpiece. And Heather doesn't really like Tamara, so she's using this as a mouthpiece, and sort of saying that, stop, she's not your lap dog. Call your lap dog off. That kind of
Yeah.
stuff. And that has happened many, many times with one Miss Stassi Schroeder. One Miss Stassi Allison Schroeder. I don't know if her middle name is Allison. I made that up.
Yeah. Yeah. She also like kind of keeps going back to her. This is Vicky, like keeps going back to her ex, even though he's done her wrong, and like says weird stuff in front of him, even in front of her new boyfriend.
God.
That's very saucy right there. All that.
Yeah. Vicky has this whole part where she said she saw Dawn, which you saw Dawn in the episode too.
Yeah.
Yeah, was Dawn in there? Okay.
Well, they
This
showed
is
him in a
really,
flashback, but I saw him in the first one.
yeah. This is a really strange revelation for this woman. So her relationships have been notoriously fraught. So this was the first one we met. Vicky always talked about her love tank needed to be full. Her love tank needed to be full. And Dawn just couldn't fill her love tank, whatever
Okay.
the fuck that means. So she divorced him. I think he did fairly okay in that divorce. But then she took up with Brooks. For our OC historians, y'all remember the one who faked cancer.
Oh,
And yes, he faked cancer. And
the original Scamanda,
yes,
a cancer faker.
exactly. That's probably where she got the idea for it. But whether or not Vicky was in on it or not, that is still like Bravo lore. But another one, all ties, everybody's all together. Megan Edmonds King is the one that kind of like sussed out the, hey man, I think you're fake. And she was like going to the hospital and asking questions about nurses and stuff, like she sussed it out. Megan Edmonds King is also the one who Kyle got caught making out with from Summer House. So circular.
Drawing lines.
But so then that fell apart. And, you don't have children. So this question, I'm going to have to change this question. But Emily and I talked about it. I could never be with someone who had the same name as my child. Could you be with someone who had the same name as your mom?
Oh, I don't think so. Luckily, I hadn't had to worry about that. That kind of stopped. I don't think many people, you're not running into a lot of Bettys born after like 1960 something, which is great. It's great for me. I've actually spoken on that before. Like a buddy was talking about, like, he didn't want to run into someone named Gladys. Like that was his mom's name. And I was like, yeah, I never have to worry about that.
I don't know, man. All those old names are coming back. Nolan's a little friend. Maybe it was Nolan or somebody who named their daughter Agnes.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine, like, looking at a baby fresh out of the womb and be like, yeah, this baby looks like an Agnes. And like that kid on Love Island whose name is Carl, 22 years old. You're looking at a brand new child. It's like, looks like a Carl to me. Strange.
I think a baby would definitely look like an Agnes, all wrinkled up, not doing it. I mean, I think Agnes and Carl. I think those are perfect baby names.
Vindicated. Well, I don't think I could be, because
No, I don't think I could. I would not.
Yeah.
I think I could meet 20 years ago, have met a beautiful woman, and she's like, yeah, Betty. And I'm like, cool. Well, y'all have a great night. And if you have some friends, I would love to meet them. Yeah.
But so her current partner is named Mike. And also, too, I want to say this, speaking of like, because the past stuff, I have been noticing that having houses in multiple places, like close, is a sign of it's like clout and affluence now. So we talked about Carmela has one in San Diego and OC. Vicky has one in Coto and Mexico. Like, that's a sign. And that Heather has one. Heather has a lot. She's got one in Aspen. She's got one in New York. She's got one in Hawaii. Like, Heather be rich. Do you know that show Botched on the E! Network?
I know of it. Yeah.
That's her husband.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, Carmela's I think one of her homes, the Rancho Santa Fe, like,
is that an OC?
That's 10 houses right there. I mean, that place was ginormous. So, yeah, way to go.
I mean,
NFL and Playboy coming together. Y'all can, I guess, afford some good property.
And like people always want to talk about like what franchise is the richest, like that has the real money. Beverly Hills probably has the most money, but OC is a real close second with the folks. Cause yeah, this whole franchise across multiple seasons is supposed to be, well, it was established as being aspirational. Like, oh, how these people live is so cool and so interesting. But really and truly now it's just like a farce and schadenfreude. Like we're just like, oh my God, look at these rich people acting stupid. Now that's kind of what it is, because between the bungee park that they did in Shannon's Pratfalls, which, she's always going to fall. She's always going to fall down. And then this birthday party for Emily being 50, which I found it to be very charming. I don't think I would like it. I don't think that would be something that I would enjoy if I show up and
scratch that off the idea list for a couple years from now.
I like the idea that they kept her in her glam and her regular clothes, but they all showed up like that. There isn't a supposition there that Heather's an oldie, and I don't care for that shit at all. At all.
No. I do like, so these people were about our age now when they started, at least some of them. I mean, they were there were people in their 40s when they started.
Yeah. So I think Emily did a thing. If y'all really want to know their ages, go to the Instagram because Emily sorted it out. But Gina right now is the same age as us. I think Gina's like, wait, is that true? I don't know. I meant to go back and look at our own. But
well,
Gina's
like Carmela's,
I think she's like
younger than us still. But
is she? How old is Carmela? I didn't write it down.
Or about our age, I think.
Yeah, and Vicky's like 63.
Right.
Shannon's 61. Tamara's 58. I want to say that Heather is going to.
Oh yeah, she said 58.
50 years after Heather Dubrow has been buried, if you dig up her corpse, she is going to look exactly the same. My only beef with Heather is she's on such a small frame that the older that she gets, like she's just so petite that she kind of looks like a bobblehead.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, speaking of Carmela, those eyebrows are a niche choice. They are very dark and very reminiscent of our past days of 2006. So,
yeah,
say that. And this comes up with another trope right here. Whenever Emily is talking about Tamara, or actually Tamara's talking about Emily not being grateful enough, this is a very specific trope that happens where women, they perceive that this woman didn't acknowledge what I did for her. And in this case, it's a podcast. Yeah. But
our kids do this all the time.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Give me an example from our kids. Because one is escaping me right now. But
well, they were saying about how in this they were like, hey, you didn't say thank you about leading up to like promoting the podcast and all that stuff. That just happened. I mean, the Sonoma thing, they thought Lala was being disrespectful because she didn't follow along with all the plans and the money. And I feel like half the episodes, there's somebody like, we did this. I mean, Stassi and them hang that stuff over Chyna's head all the time just because they brought her into their clique, and it's like the least you could do is say thank you, like all the time. And I mean,
yes,
it's a lot.
Said last episode too, he was like, you don't even know the shit that we're getting for hanging out with you, Lala. So it's baked into this model.
They've done it to Jax. Like, you don't know the shit we deal with because we hang out with you, like you got to be thinking us all the time.
I'm definitely jumping around too because there's really no need for us to be beat by
No, we are.
Okay. Well, let me know if it's being too chaotic because we did mention that Carmela was a Playmate of the Year. We did not, however, mention that she was on WWE Raw.
Oh, I didn't know that. I was suspicious about her having a son named Jax. That really was like 15. That would have been 2011. Yeah, that could have.
Yeah, it works out. But did you not see where they flashed it on when she was telling the story and they flashed it up? Because
no, I missed it. I must have been.
You're probably taking notes. Yeah. So what was strange to me is that they showed a still, like obviously like a production still, and they showed her that she was in the ring with somebody that had her hand up, and they blurred the other woman's face out.
Yeah.
Now let's play this out for just a second. You are already on TV. Did she not give permission for Bravo to show it?
I bet it's WWE. I bet it's WWE licensing. Absolutely. Yeah.
Interesting. So even though it's already aired and it's for public consumption, they can't they need to license it just to show the picture.
Also, it's wrestling. That could have been a person who's done some really shady shit
Well,
since
that's
they
where my
were.
brain went.
So they might have just been like, "Don't even involve that person. Let's
That
not.
was
Let's not show what they were
that's
doing."
where
No,
my
no,
brain
no.
went. Was like this woman with killed a bunch of puppies and
Yes. Yeah.
whatever.
Well.
Yeah. And then so we've got all this stuff, and like there's a lot of like talking behind their back. That's also just sort of like baked into any sort of inherent drama that has a lot of women in it. Not
Oh,
to be like self. Yes. Jeff has a question.
Jeff does. Why is Shannon the only one that rents?
Well, I
Sorry.
think
Pardon
Jen
me.
does.
Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
We can take a break if you want.
Oh, okay. We can take a break. Okay, we're back from that abrupt break, but we don't have to talk much about because them debriefing everybody. Everybody has to debrief everybody, has to debrief everybody. But so
Mm-hmm.
Tamra's house, the shady ass cameraman pans over to the couch in which it says the judge's dream house. Her last name is Judge, but it is a singular possessive. Okay, both her and her husband live there, so it should be Judge's S apostrophe, not
That's
Judge
correct.
apostrophe S. And I'm like, girl, get yourself together. Like, that's humiliating. I mean, that's the least of her worries. But we talked more about Carmela. I really liked how she said that she thought kids were gross before she had them. And then once she started having them, she never wanted to
Yeah.
stop. I found that to be very, very charming. And they got a lot of backstory. We don't typically get a lot of that kind of, I'm from Ohio, my mom was very strict, blah, 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 out of them. Usually we kind of just get sort of like, once they're already fully formed into the universe, Bravo, we get them. But I liked it.
I love
Uh,
the flashback to a different, like, I didn't grow up like this. It is bizarre. You know, like, as much as I do it and I'm part of the show and I lived in a mansion before, it is like, I know this isn't normal. And that's great for me to know that, like, oh, all of this just isn't a given, that you're going to live. Cause there is
well,
something completely unrelatable about a lot of it, of course. And that's why some of it's fascinating, but
yeah. And so none of these folks grew up this way, except for Shannon. I think Shannon may have grown up in
oh, that's weird.
OC.
Why is she renting?
Because she's a disaster. I don't know. She was married and then she wasn't. I think she wanted to be in a specific place. I don't know. But like, not to get tacky, but I think she gets like $12,000 a month in alimony.
And 10 and a half of that goes to rent.
I guess. I mean, I don't know, but I have no idea. I think she's bounced around a little bit too, because she also used to live with the boyfriend who then they broke up and then he sued her and then got with Jesus
I
Jones.
mean, I like her. She's sweet. She's daffy in a nice way. I like it.
Daffy is a good way to say it. Like, that is a really good way to put it, because that is exactly how they're painting her. She hasn't always been this like pratfall-y kind of slapstick character. She's always been eccentric. Like, if you ever hear the phrase 9 bowls and a lemon, nine lemons in a bowl.
Oh, that's good. Well,
That's her.
I mean, she does act on it. Like, they're at the class because she wants to work on her balance, I guess. So it seems like it hasn't always been a thing. So
Yeah, it's just too much performance for me. But then her and Shannon's little tryst or like outing is another trope that we see. Like, the new person trying to figure out what their clique is, like what their in is. Shannon is not it. Carmela, if you're listening, last year in the past, Shannon is not your in to this group. That's not the clique you want to be in. You want to go straight to Heather. Heather is the head in charge, and she's going to be the nicest to you, at least to your face. So that's my advice, because it's always so inorganic when they try to shoehorn somebody in. It's like, yes, I've known her for years. That may be because, their kids were at the same school. They never talked. Like, it's always so organic trying to introduce a new person into the group.
yeah.
But they fall into that too. Rancho Santa Fe being in Orange County seems very confusing for the male people.
Yeah, I guess that's in Orange County are all the little Casa de Rancho de, like, that's
Yeah.
all the gated communities.
I guess Corona Del Mar is one. One of them lives there.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this party. I know we talked about it a little bit, but I want to say right now that I called everybody's comparison before they did, all except for the Vicki Lawrence Mama's Family. I did not
Thank
call
you.
that one, but
Thank
did
you
you
for
call
the
that one?
Vicki Lawrence reference. No, I didn't call any of them, but man, that
Oh,
Vicki Lawrence reference is, I mean, when they side by sided it, I was like, oh, that was just a great moment. 9-year-old Jeff couldn't have been happier watching
yeah.
syndicated Mama's Family. It was a big,
So,
big daytime joy.
so it was Mama's Family. It was Chips, but it was not Little House on the Prairie.
Right. That's correct.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Jeff and I had a conversation about the new Little House on the Prairie reboot. Watch it, y'all. It's way more wholesome than these bitches. But I like that she was the only one too. They put a side by side up.
Yeah.
They didn't put a side by side of her and Cruella DeVille. They did not put up a side by side. I said that Shannon looked like the ghost of Jackie O, but Gina said that she looked like a Kennedy. But like, you know, they all.
She just kept saying a Kennedy. You know, like she has that thing about her, like a Kennedy, and she's dressed like a Kennedy. And then, like,
yeah.
Well,
Which one, dear? I just
like,
had the
I
ghost
think
stuff.
just one of them. Yeah.
And I am living for all the flashbacks to the older seasons. I think that because this is their 20th season, they're getting a lot more nostalgic. And I want us to talk about that a little bit too. But one of my favorite scenes, I think, of this year that we've watched a lot of TV, you and I.
Yep.
This conversation that these women have about getting older or like being in their 50s or in their 60s.
Yes.
This is the most authentic thing that I've seen in a long time because this is how me and my friends talk to each other. Like we're like, oh my God, I'm in my 40s. I feel so good or oh, whatever. Feels really, really like true.
Yes. That's why I asked about their ages also because one, they're still getting together, you know, and they're at least 20 years older than us. And not like it's impossible for us to imagine, but like, man, they're getting paid. Show flashbacks to their 40s and 50s and they're at the lake having fun. Like there's a bunch of good times coming up. They're dressing up together in their 60s. But that idea, your 50s are where it's at, was like next to a plane with some guy who was, you know, I was talking about struggling business stuff and he was like, and this is years ago. And he's like, look, man, I was in my early 50s, 40, and he was like pretty well to do and all that. He was like, I was in my early 50s for anything, like struggled in my 30s, like didn't know if it was ever going to happen in my 40s. When I hit 52, this and this started happening. And I'm still like, oh, please let it happen.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of
encouraging.
Counting down that something like this would happen. I did even write, please let this be true. But it was wonderful. Also, I did make one call. Sorry. I said that Tamara looked like Amy Sedaris in Strangers with Candy. If you know that reference.
Okay. I mean, I do. I don't know how much overlap there is with the OC audience, with the Strangers with Candy audience, but who knows? Maybe. So, I also forgot one of the tropes too, is the sit down where you meet at a restaurant. Two people who are not getting along meet at a restaurant to like hash it out, which then leads to another one that we see in a little bit about the let's move forward. I just want to move forward. Spoiler, Jeff, they don't move
no
forward.
one moves forward.
No one ever moves forward.
The two people meeting up in a restaurant, because when they're not doing that, it's so everyone else is giving their opinions and you get, well, why do you have to say anything? And that segues into a whole different thing. And then this person starts arguing and then somebody's tired and somebody's drunk. The one-on-one I love. Like I wish almost every situation would end or, you know, at some point have like, look, apparently Lala and Katie are not getting along. Like have them out somewhere and see if they can't get along without somebody hollering in one of them's ear. So I like that.
You love how hopeful and optimistic you are because what inevitably happens, what we have seen happen many, many times is they go and they sit down, they give a very chilly, okay, let's move forward truce. And then each of them respectively go back and tell a version of that story that is only going to inflame their beef even more. And, you know, I'm going to continue to watch this show because I have watched every episode since season 1 because that is, you know, just my scholarship and my love of things. But I can tell that they're leaning on a lot of what has already been established, especially as we look back into season 1 and episodes 1 and 2, because these folks didn't know nothing about nothing. They didn't even know what show they were going to be on, literally. Like, they thought they were going to be a different show. And number one, the production of it all is real janky as fuck. And the shaky camera of it all. And they don't even have taglines. They just like pull quotes from the episodes. Like the quote they pulled for Poor Lori is, "Are the police involved? Y'all cut this woman a break." And not spoil, but like a trigger warning. I do believe that her son died by suicide or drug inflicted. I do. I think drugs, maybe that might be wrong, but he struggled.
The Josh kid that got in trouble.
Yeah. He struggled his whole life. But so let's talk a little bit about season 1, episode 2. It is like, it's a time capsule, right?
I do think, I had no interest in this when it came on, when I was 28 years old, but I do think if something like this premiered, not like season 20 of this one today, I'm sure it would be easy as hell for you to get me to watch it. Like, I'll see what these people are up to, but the idea of a brand new show with people in their mid-30s or whatever I'm at now, that you can, that I would probably be very on board with it. I doubt they're doing that, like whatever new 48-year-olds they're giving a TV show right now.
Well, Ladies of London, they gave those people one, which RIP, which now there is a Housewives of London, which feels very blasphemous that Bravo would snatch Ladies of London from us only to give us Housewives of London. Like, how dare you?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's, I don't know if it's the same production company.
I watched Ladies of London though. So see,
we loved it.
There you go.
I know I already mentioned the rabbit hunting, but this was jarring as hell to me. Listen, and I am not precious. I grew up in the South. My dad was not a hunter, but my brothers were and my cousins were. I've been hunting. Like, I am not precious about this. What is the shock of it all is that this aired. Like, can you imagine in 2026 if this whole like story aired? Bravo would be shut down. It wouldn't be able to even exist.
It's great that people can be really shitty to their core as a human being on this, and then both inwardly and outwardly, and have zero respect for any of their coworkers. Yet that can still go on today. Yet the idea of somebody pulling a gun out of a safe is like, and I'm with you. We don't have that on there. I'm not denying that. And I'm not saying it should be on TV more, but it is funny that no. Let people treat each other like garbage and let's film it. That's fine. That's no problem there. But God, let's not put, Yeah,
I'm going to write a strongly worded letter to Bravo. But like, that's so funny too, because remember I told you Shannon a couple of years ago, she got a DUI in which she ran her car into a house, like literally like her car hit a house where people live. And because she had her dog in the front seat, that's what made the headlines. It was like Shannon Bedore of ROC Rex with dog in the front seat. All of the pictures were of Archie. Her dog's name's Archie. There, like, it was, people were more mad at her for endangering Archie's life than I think they were for the DUI.
Lisa Vanderpump just swoops in with their Vanderpumps helicopter to rescue Archie.
These children are trash. Like, especially Shane. Shane was notoriously the worst one. Like I said, they would never be able to get away with this kind of shit in here. Like, the children now, you can be mean to your direct parent, but you can't seem bratty or seem spoiled, right? You have to be grounded in that way. And that's what they received media training for. They received like, hey, listen, don't go out here and talk about that your school uniform costs $10,000 or whatever. So that the rawness of these children was wild.
Is Shane shitty, or is he just brought up with a uncle that is a pretty poor influence on him and is getting pushed in lots of directions by people he may not necessarily want to go in? Is that a possibility also?
You didn't watch episode 1, so I'm gonna cut you a little bit of break. But he's notoriously shitty. He's really bad. So I don't know if you know who Matt Keogh is, but like there's this very famous baseball team. He played for the Oakland A's. Matt Keogh was on the Oaklands. His dad was, and then Shane also got drafted later.
Thanks for explaining Oakland A's to me.
Well, no, I'm saying that they were both all it's like this legacy, and I
So
think
Shane was on the A's?
well he got whatever like the third farm team is. He got
Oh,
drafted
okay.
like the 187th round, whatever that happens in episode 1.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But they let him, I mean, his parents ruined him, but they let him quit school to go to another school because they had a better baseball team, but he flunked out of that school and he didn't even go to his graduation because of this, this, and this, and this. But what these
Oh, yeah, they showed that.
what these parents abide could never, ever, ever exist because they would be getting so much hate. Like CPS would be called because somebody on Twitter saw this shit happening and called CPS. Like the bubble that these folks are in, because social media was definitely didn't have Instagram. We didn't have Twitter. I don't know. Facebook, maybe MySpace.
I think
don't know.
Facebook was still on campuses like back then.
So
yeah.
maybe so these people did not have the external influence of the public weighing in, which thank goodness, because these kids would have really got it real bad. But it's tough. They're getting a bad shot.
I didn't care for some of Uncle Richie's influence. I'll just say that. And the girl Kara likes him too much. So
I found that, and I don't want to be gross about things, but I did find the way in which she described their relationship a little strange.
Yep.
And especially because Uncle Richie seems to be a lot younger and he is not a blood relative. It's throwing some flags for me.
And he is pushing the boy to be with these other women and, repeatedly. And so he's got certain things on his mind and she seems really intrigued by him. And yeah.
We'll just leave that there. You mentioned you had some because the pasts.
Oh, yeah. Flip phones.
And he had it clipped to his belt.
Yeah. There's some much goofier music than like the rockin' club music VPR. It's just like do 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 like Leave It to Beaver music. Huge big screen TVs. Huge 6 feet deep big screen TVs in these rooms because
6 feet deep.
That's what was happening back there. If you want a 120-inch TV, that's what was going to happen.
They weighed
and for me,
200 pounds.
Yeah, and for me, cruise ships. That's a no. I don't know if you've seen a documentary at all released in the last 3 years, but you don't need to go do those anymore.
No, thank you. I'll pass on the hantavirus. No, thank you. Like the hantavirus is not for me. I'm already having to avoid lettuce right now. Okay, like I cannot.
Just don't eat it from Taco Bell. You're fine.
Okay, listen, Taco Bell not a sponsor. Not now, anyway. And I don't know. You didn't get to see a lot of Joe and Slade from season 1, but Slade now is married and has a child with a future housewife that we haven't met yet, Gretchen.
Is Slade younger than Joe?
No, he's much older. He's like 15 years older than Joe. Is that what you meant to say? Is Joe younger than Slade? His girlfriend's a lot younger.
No, I thought Slade was younger than Joe.
No, she's like 23.
Okay.
And he's in his 30s. There's like 12 years difference, I think.
Yeah, he seemed like a real dick. Anyway, Slade.
He's the slimiest.
Yeah, he seems like a real prick.
And he is such a fame whore, and he is still constantly trying to weave his way back into this show. But
it is funny. Like I forgot. Like you could look at a person and be like, "Oh, that person has a Hummer, like one of those giant Hummers parked outside." Like that was not that.
That's a thing.
Uncommon. I mean, that was a real thing.
Even when they're like car shopping, they just like, oh, nobody gives a shit about fuel economy around here. Like, everybody's just driving a Hummer. I'm like, that was 20 years ago. Meanwhile, we're out here about to have to buy air in a jar, like fucking Lorax.
Yeah, that was a real that car salesman was a real throwback. He was
slimy as what I called that woman too. I think she did one season. I've never even heard. I don't even remember her. I don't even know her. Like, where's she at?
Scott and Kimberly from Baltimore. You don't think they were media savvy enough to stick? Was Lori around long? I had a guess that she wasn't around long.
Yes, okay. And she was around 2 or 3 seasons, and this will make you happy. She found a rich man married him, and got to restore her life that she had previously. She wasn't like crammed into a 2,000 square apartment with all her children. Oh, the life. She did find a rich man that restored her previous lifestyle.
Good for her. Good.
Okay. So to remind everybody, this is going to be our last dalliance with OC. I'm still watching it. So please, if you have anything to say, send it to me because I need someone to talk about it. I am very interested in Emily and Shane's marital status. We didn't talk much about it, but like I think over the course of this season they might get divorced. I am very interested in seeing Carmela just eat Vicky alive because Vicky notoriously hazes new people, and I don't think Carmela's going to have that shit. And we're going to have a Tamara and Shannon sit down. So I'm going to be watching it. So y'all send it to me. But
I'm going to check it out again. I bet. So I'll be in touch.
Yeah,
if you've ever had a weird night
corner.
in Mexico where your uncle was pushing you onto people of the opposite sex, hit me up at Jeff at Pinopod. I am into that. Absolutely. I'm sorry that happened to you.
But so now we're going to do this. So if you listen to this, thank you so much. We love you. Go rate us, review us, find us on all the socials. But then also we're about to get into the Vanderpump of it all, our bread and butter. And the title of the episode, much to Jeff's imagined chagrin, is The D-Pick.
It's a great one. It's a classic.
Yeah, it's a good one. This is a good one. So y'all come back and listen to that in a little bit.
Let's see. What other similarities did you have or anything from the past?
Nothing. I was signing off. That was me signing off.
All right. Well, I was just checking. I wanted to wrap up with you. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you on the Vintage Vanderpump.